Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, people. Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning, royals. Good morning, the kings and queens of the land. Today it's a full pack show. Topic today we're covering is the colonial education, the EFF and the colonial education. But basically, what we're discussing is the colonial education. The EFF, I'm just putting them in the. The EFF and the colonial education. That is our topic today. I've got a lot of things to say about this topic, and I pray that more people and more young people see this video that I'm currently making, currently live. Let me share this video just as a start of the session. The ANC have expelled President Zuma from the organization. More things to talk about, but today let me.
What is the point of order? Sorry, I was switching on the mic. No, I wanted Speaker respectfully to address this honorable member with his rightful title as a matriculant, seeing that there are confusions of titles today. This is a judge. Now you have a matriculant.
Honorable members, order.
I wanted to share this video, and another one that I want to share. This is Hussein Ndlozi in Parliament talking about the leader of the opposition, saying this one who is talking at the stage is the matriculant now talking, because they were calling people with titles in parliament. He stood up and said, this one who is currently talking is the matriculant. I want to share another one.
Oh, there it goes. EFF. You see?
We just want to announce to the House that we are going to bring a substantial motion that ministers must have post-matric qualifications. To run government is a very complex exercise. This anti-intellectual, education-hate culture promoted in the ranks of the DA must be rejected. The minister must go to school. Hauna khokho ko skolo. Kumnandi esikolweni. Siyafunda sidlale sifunde. Honorable McPhail, you must go to school, minister. Thank you very much.
This was Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, once again in Parliament, EFF Member of Parliament, talking to DA members, basically, to go to school. This is the reason. The EFF, which says they are against the colonial education, which are fighting, which says, the EFF says, thank you for joining. Click the like button and subscribe. My name is Mngulu Mkonto, and you are in the Royal Opinion. Thank you very much for joining. This is the Royal Opinion. We're talking about the EFF and the colonial education. The EFF is a political organization in South Africa, which says they are against their colonial education, they are against the colonial rule, and Africa must be decolonized. The education itself must be decolonized. But the EFF itself have been using the education, the same education of the colonizer, to exclude its own members from its leadership rank. Basically, when they take people to parliament, they check if that person is actually educated or not. Do they have the colonial education or not? Because they actually believe in the colonial education. They believe that, and they find themselves stuck because when they go to parliament, they thought white people will approve of them when they have this education, the colonial education. But when they get to parliament, they actually realize that actually this was not a requirement. The DA members does not even have matriculants, most of them, or the maximum they have reached its matriculants, but they are in parliament and they are in power. Mm. Parliament, not only in parliament, in power. White people are in power without the education system. The reason most white people don't have the education that Mbuyiseni Ndlozi find himself with, and this education, my point that I want to talk about today is the irrelevance of the colonial education in the era of the AI revolution. how irrelevant sorry how irrelevant the education of the colonial education in Africa has become, how outdated the colonial education in South Africa and in Africa has become. um, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi and the EFF thinking that when they go to parliament, it will be a club of the educated white people and the educated black people, uh, finding themselves disappointed to find that actually white people are not educated. The reason white people are not educated is because they own businesses, they own money that you go for education in order to have. So they have the money, they don't need the education. They have the businesses, they don't need the education because the education it's for the slave to go and educate themselves to come and help the master. Learn the numbers, um, which you don't know where to use the numbers, and then find the master to go and work for. The education, actually, let me structure this, the argument that I'm actually bringing forth today in different categories. First, I want to, at the end of the argument, I will say that the education of the colonial masters, the colonial education is irrelevant and outdated. But first, let me argue that even the reason for the education to exist, it's actually dangerous. For this education to exist, it's actually dangerous for black people. Okay, let me start at the beginning. Uh, when families produce human resource by giving birth, the families are supposed to have plans. The families that are producing the human resource are actually supposed to have plans with the human resource that they are producing. Meaning, when I say a plan on the human resource that you are producing, it's a plan on how you're going to use the human resource that you've acquired in to grow your family and the economy of your own family. So this knowledge has been taken away. The purpose of human resource in families has been taken away. The reason this um, purpose of human resource in families has been taken away is so that um, black people produce human resource to feed into the system. They should not have purpose for the human resource that they are producing. They should just have a plan to produce human resource, meaning they must just give birth to children without knowing what they want to do with the children. The system will take over the. Hey, Paxman. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I got disturbed a little bit. Someone came in. I was still talking. I was still addressing about the issue of um, giving, feeding the human resource to the system. So the colonial education itself has been designed to make families. The system itself have been designed to make families to have no purpose for the human resource. Has been designed to make the black man forget uh, the reason why he produces human resource. Or to make, yeah, basically to make the black person, the black woman, the black man forget the reason why they produce human resource. So that the human resource cannot be used in their own families. The education system takes your child from the age of from the age of 3 years. The education system withdraw the child from parenting. The education system remove the parent from the age of 3. The system remove the parent from the child. Then now the system feeds the child with information that will make the child uh, never to work uh, to enhance the economy of his family. After 12 years, the child will be taken to university. After 12 years, the child will be taken to university. So 12 years, the system requires 12 years away. Children, for 12 years, children are required away from their parents. Somebody else is parenting the children, ensuring that they give them their education from the enemies, the education which comes from the enemy, which are the colonial masters. So the colonial masters raise the child in a way that the child will be more comfortable being a slave, in a way that the child will be more comfortable being a slave for the system uh, than any other way. So after 12 years, the children are taken away from the parents to further go to university. After the university, the children are now fed into the system of the colonial masters as educated slaves. The education itself, from the first place, the colonial education was irrelevant for the development of the black man, because the education system itself, it's about remembering. It's just about remembering. It does not encourage thinking. Uh, it's just about remembering. The teacher would just ask you, when did Jan van Riebeeck arrive in South Africa? The teacher would just come and tell you that Jan van Riebeeck arrived in South Africa in 1652, and when he comes back a day later, he asks a question: when did Jan van Riebeeck arrive in South Africa? If you say 1652, he says you are a clever child, which actually is just about uh, remembering. It's just about remembering what the master has told you. It has got nothing to do with actual thinking, improving things. No, it's not about that. It's not about improving anything. It's about remembering what the master has told you to do. That is the education system. So it's even worse at this moment, because the education system has even become more irrelevant because of the internet revolution. People like me, I have lived without the time, without cell phones. I have lived without electricity. Um, I have lived the time the industrial revolution happened. We've lived the time when the industrial revolution happened. We've lived the time when the communication revolution happened. We've lived the time when the internet revolution happened. We've lived the time when the social media revolution happened. We've also lived the time now when AI revolution, artificial intelligence revolution happens. So we've lived through all of these eras. the education that the white man has prepared for the black man can no longer stand because it's totally outdated and irrelevant. That is why the members of the EFF feel so much irrelevant with their education and feel that this should be enforced. Let me share what Ndlozi was saying about the other people who are supposed to be educated. More and more people will start to feel the same way. They will start to feel irrelevant. They will start uh, to feel unnoticed and they will want to be noticed. So this is what Mbuyiseni Ndlozi was doing in order to be noticed because his education has become irrelevant in the in the AI or the artificial intelligence revolution. Besides that, it is totally irrelevant. You can't use it even in parliament where he thought it was gonna be used. He even talked about proposing a motion. Uh, um, the EFF will bring in a motion to make MPs education compulsory, to make sure that the MPs that goes to parliament have got matriculant and other things, which is very stupid because that would have avoided President Zuma going to parliament. And the President Zuma is the most performing president of all time in South Africa, probably of all time in Africa. The best performing president in South Africa without the matriculant that Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is talking about. So let me share, let me just share what he actually said. Let me play what he actually said.
Oh, there it goes. EFF. You see?
We just want to announce to the House that we are going to bring a substantial motion that ministers must have post-matric qualifications. To run government is a very complex exercise. This anti-intellectual, education-hate culture being promoted in the ranks of the DA must be rejected. The minister must go to school.
The minister must go to school. Feeling cheated by the DA parliamentarians who are actually in parliament without matriculant, sometimes without university degrees or diplomas, most of them. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi feeling cheated. He was thinking that it was going to be a club of the educated black in parliament and the club of the educated white. They are going to meet there in parliament. That's how they've been discriminating against their own members who deserves to actually go to parliament and taking parachuting some other members whom they think the system approves of them, like Mkhwebane, who was just parachuted from just joining today and parachuted to parliament, undermining all other members that have been there because of the education system of the colonial masters. EFF wanted to be approved by the masters in parliament. Um, but then what they are finding is that the education that they actually have prioritized in their own leadership and the education system that they have actually used to discriminate against their members um, the white people or their white colleagues in the form of DA don't really care about it, and they don't really have it. They only have money and power to control the resources. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi feeling more irrelevant with his doctorate. It's actually totally irrelevant. He can't use it in parliament, he can't use it anywhere. So it's going to be even more irrelevant. That is my argument. The qualifications that these people who have acquired the colonial education and took the personality too much into the head, because it's just creating an ego, that you are actually Professor Home, but there's no, it's totally irrelevant. People will be able to do everything without education because of the AI revolution. Artificial intelligence robots will replace all of human beings. People will be able to perform operations on themselves by just go to buy robots to come and operate. Anybody can run uh, an operating room as long as you have the money to buy the robot that do the operations. You can do the heart operation as long as you have the robot that does the heart operation. The robot will be so precise, uh, far more precise, 1,000 times more precise than humans can ever be. The robot will be able to stand as lawyers, will be able to give information, and the robots will be able to work as accountants. All people are going to be, all the people who have the colonial education are going to feel more irrelevant uh, in the next 3 years. If this education system, the current education system which is currently running, is not collapsed for the sake of more better education that can equip children to be relevant, to become relevant in the planet. Because at the moment, whatever it's being educated, it's not relevant. Whatever can actually be taught in the internet, you should just be referred to the internet. We should not learn it at school. Whatever that can be learned in the internet, it should not be form part of education system. It has to be things that cannot be learned in the internet. Then you can say that is the right kind of education. The right kind of education would be human beings becoming conscious, human beings becoming alive. That would be the right kind of education, the only education which is not available in the internet. The education on how to understand yourself, how to understand um, who you are, what were you before you took the body, what are you at the moment, what have you been since, where are you, that kind of education, the education that would make uh, people have purpose, that would make people eat for purpose, for their purpose, and act to achieve their purpose. The education system which will install consciousness into people. That is the only education that can stand and be relevant in this era. Not the education of the colonial masters. This education has become totally irrelevant and it has collapsed. It will actually collapse in the next 3 years. More and more people, even the politicians themselves, will become irrelevant. They will feel irrelevant. The politicians themselves are going to feel totally irrelevant because people will just live online. Though another layer of illusion, another planet is being created online uh, by this AI revolution. More people will be deluded from reality. People will not be able to differentiate between artificial intelligence and reality. And people will live more on the internet. We already have people. I'm currently on the internet. I'm currently living my life on the internet as I'm speaking to you now. You are living your life in the internet, and I am living my life in this internet planet. So more people are joining in this type of life. People will just go live from morning to sunset, and they will just go for virtual reality. They will travel to any place they want to travel, sitting where they are. Traveling will not be relevant anymore because people will be able to reach any place in the planet virtually. They will be able to travel to any place in the planet. Money will become irrelevant because people will just log in online and go on virtual reality, and people will not see a need to have the money. So those who have the money may as well feel uh, irrelevant as well. Many people will start to feel in a different way. Thank you very much for those who have joined the live stream, and thank you very much for those who are listening to the live stream after we streamed. We're going to end the live stream. Comment, tell us what you think about the current education system. Tell us what you think about the EFF and their colonial education. Tell us what you think about all of those people. Thank you very much.